what it mean to be the best. Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
Hello. Welcome in to Tell the Truth. We are back here. Happy New Year's Eve to everybody. We have, a very brief Chiefs game to actually touch on, and then we got a few things as far as a look ahead is concerned. The Chiefs obviously did lose on Christmas somehow in a game that was incredibly ugly because the Denver Broncos are not an impressive football team. And of course, they have a game in Las Vegas to finish out their season. However, they are in a good position as far as draft capital is concerned, given the fact that obviously they're bad this year. And they had some things go their way on Sunday and specifically Monday night with the Falcons beating the Rams, which has now led them be in position to be the 9th pick in the NFL draft and possibly be able to pick top 8 if they do lose. And I believe Cincy just has to win. Or no, sorry. They lose and then the Saints win versus those Falcons. So that's where we're looking at as far as the Chiefs are concerned. DG, CJ, how you feeling, man?
If you're telling me that it takes a game-winning drive for you to beat Chris Oladukin,
not impressed.
Yeah, listen, dog. I hope Denver fans are ready for that one and done. Cause yeah, I was not impressed. Like ultimately, man. Shout out to the guys who did play, man. Especially all the young guys and things of that nature. Shout out to Chris Oladukin. They showed a lot of pride on Christmas night or whatever. I can appreciate that at least. But yeah, that game was it was funny. But at the same time, it was like Bo Nix and them just I don't see how you're a Broncos fan. You got any faith in that offense to do anything in the playoffs. But hey, stranger things have happened. So we'll see. You know?
It is what it is. The game overall, they kept it close, kept it interesting. They covered the spread. I appreciate that. They definitely didn't get embarrassed, which is what I had a feeling that game would be close because tendency for most teams are when you're playing a team that's such a lower talent-wise, so many guys not playing, you play down or play up to your competition. So Denver kind of read the room like, hey, guys ain't playing. We're not about to come in here and give it our full effort, even though I felt that game looked like DG said, looked like a lot of their other games this year. So I was like, that's kind of a preview of what y'all been doing all year. But overall, love to see the defense at least play with some heart. Love to see Jaden and Nick Bono out there and get a turnover. That was good to see. Hopefully we get to bring that into the new year.
You cut out, CJ. You cut out here?
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah.
But overall, as far as like highlights for the game, Christian Fulton, definitely love to see him get on the field and be healthy. I know he's been hurt damn near all year.
Good.
It was ironically, I know we threw him in the Denver game after the bye when he hadn't played all year and he struggled. And then ironically, this was his best game of the year against Denver at home. So that was good to see from him. Love to see Brashard Smith touch the football in any way possible. Still want to see him get more carries, but anytime 2-4 touches the ball, it's explosive, whether it be punt return, kick return, catching the ball in the backfield. He'll be a big part of our offense for years to come. So I love to see that. And overall, man, just good to see guys just show some heart. Like DG said, don't go out there and get embarrassed on your home field on prime time and in a Christmas game where the whole world's watching. So love to see that. So
when I said it, people had a problem.
I mean, the argument for Nico, I don't know why everybody got so mad.
I've been told y'all that.
Play. He only does return, so I don't know what y'all even so mad about. So.
Hey, bro, in the summer, everybody was getting on me when I was in training camp saying, why is this guy going to make the team? Everybody's talking, oh, he's a great returner. That's what he provides for us, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, he had a couple good returns last year. Cool. What else he gave you?
I mean, ain't nobody thinking. I mean, of all players to get mad about, I'm not even tripping about the Nico one. The Elijah Mitchell signing was the biggest waste of time.
That was the waste
anything we did last year. That one pissed me off.
And we knew it. We knew it at the time too. We knew that
From
was.
I was like, he's not going to play, and you didn't play him a snap, and it was pointless, and it was just irrelevant. So that one made me way more mad. But overall, no, I like the way the guys played, man. Chris Jones still like Chris Jones. I love the way he sold the offsides. Appreciate that. We needed that pick, so I appreciate you, gang, for that. But no, man, we looking at the pick number 8 or pick number 9. If you would have told us this, 5 years ago, that we'd be sitting here, have 5 Super Bowl appearances, and now we got a chance to get a top 10 pick again, a lot of us probably would have took that. So hate to see our quarterback get hurt in the process of that. But to be in this spot where we are now, we have a chance to get a high impact player for our roster. We needed a reset year like this. Sad our quarterback had to get hurt in the process of it, but I do like the spot where we can get a good player for our roster. So overall, tough year. Down years are inevitable. We knew it was coming, but for us to be here, overall, the roster is in a generally good spot. Make some adjustments that we need to make, but I think we're in a good place to move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do have a few players just to highlight here, and we'll go ahead and start on the offensive side of the ball. Hello? Okay, now that's okay. Yeah, that goes that. It's
the echo. CJ,
what's it, CJ?
Yeah, I think it's CJ.
Okay, I'm back. I'm talking about AirPod that. I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, that is unfortunately Sky Moore does look like a very good punt returner, which again, like I said, Dave Tope got to get fired. Frustrating. Let's go ahead and start on the offensive side of the ball. You guys gave the sentiments as far as where the Chiefs are at. Shout out to CJ, not CJ, Chris Jones for selling that offsides for sure, man. Appreciate that. Good work.
I ain't gonna lie.
Secure the pick,
I was low key happy.
I was happy too.
Yes.
Get the pick.
I wasn't upset. The show wasn't upset, man.
I said, sell the take job, baby.
I love how everybody on the radio the next day was like, "Oh my God, how do you jump?" I'm like, "Why do y'all care?
Why y'all care? Oh, yeah,
who I don't give a hoot, man. We got the
y'all was really trying to win that game
and beat who,
right?"
Oh God. I am upsetting the entirety of Bill's Twitter again, and it is killing my mentions. I was trying to send the tweet out. This is all right. We're starting on the offensive side of the ball, though. Chiefs obviously did not really get the young guys involved as we would have hoped. Jalen Royals did technically get to start the game, and we'll talk about anything that he did. Basically, these 2 snaps that were somewhat notable out of that. Brashard Smith did have his first NFL touchdown, though, him and Chris Oladokun for that matter, and showed off the receiving chops out of the backfield that are the reason why he was drafted, honestly, out of SMU, and why we thought that he could be a really nice weapon for this team. I found it to be an interesting thing. Obviously, they kind of run a little bit of running back traffic, get him out into the backfield. DG and CJ, just talk about what impressed you the most as far as this game, this play was concerned.
The fact that they actually were willing to give him touches in this game, but ultimately, I mean, just great play design, using him, using his strengths. We know how good he can be once he gets into the open field. Really, he's a mismatch, I think, for any really linebacker. So you see Alex Singleton, there's no chance for him to really get over there and make a play on that. So yeah, just utilizing him for what he's actually really good at, motioning him in, indicating the man-to-man coverage. And then Denver just kind of had some trouble trying to passing it off at that point. Then good contact balance at the line and to get into the end zone. And yeah, man, I'm sad that he didn't get more touches like this year. I think they underutilized him this year, especially in the receiving game. But it's a good sign for the future and moving forward.
No, for sure. I think he'll be obviously in the rotation next year. I think the running back room is a top 2 priority for me as far as enhancing this roster. So as far as our top 3 backs next year, I would love to see it be Brashard Smith, Damian Pierce in that room, and then obviously a draft pick running back. And I think we'll be in a much better position to be more explosive and be more versatile in that room going forward. So, no, Brashard's a special player. Every time he touches the ball, he does something good. Essentially, it seems like, whether it be catch the ball in the backfield, returning kicks, returning punts, he's a good player, and I'd love to see him even get more carries. So, I think next year will be the year of a breakout for him. I think a lot of people are asleep on him besides us because we obviously talk about him so much. But I think this is just a sneak preview of what he can be for this offense, man. He's not as good as a full complement as Jet McKinnon was, but as far as catching the ball out of the backfield and being that special player, I think he could be that and more, especially in that aspect. Obviously, you want to see him be a complete back as far as pass protection. That'd be the next level of advancement for him. But as far as being a playmaker, he's elite, man. He's good at breaking tackles. There's 3 people in front of him right here, and he essentially gets into the end zone almost untouched. So he's a great player, man. He's special. Love to see him do more. We'd love to see us enhance the running back and receiver coaches to get guys more opportunities to play next year. So, but I think Brashard's going to be a big part of that. So it seems like every time he's on the field, we were screaming for it and something good happened. So glad to see him get in the end zone, get that ball, keep it in his trophy case, and let's see if we can do more for him in the offense as well.
Yeah, I did want to highlight, just like you said, there's 2 people in front of him in the goal line here. And he does a really good job at being able to still turn around and make this catch because the ball's a little bit behind him. And even though that they have the angle on it, he threatens it enough to be able to then get them flowing the wrong way, and then can just get right through that arm tackle from Singleton and just get through and sneak through into the end zone. And he has the receiving chops out of the backfield that can make those plays in a way out in space specifically that Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco simply can't. And that's just an aspect of the game that we haven't necessarily been able to have in this offense here recently. And it's frustrating that he wasn't able to be used more throughout the season. That's just, how I feel about it. John asked, if he stays a running back or goes a wide receiver, he'd stay a running back. And I think that as we play this, because you'll see the return stuff as well, he's just more of a DeAnthony Thomas type of weapon that you can use, that you can split out and also use out of the backfield and also from that standpoint, you can do some of the jet sweep stuff too. I think the other thing is that you have to make sure. I don't think that you can just go out there and run like a running back. I don't think that is really in the cards for him in the future. I know other people may disagree with that. That's just me and the read that I have on him. But I do think that he can be a part of our backfield as a running back 3, or running back 4 in that gadget type of role and really be impactful in the limited snaps that he gets. So I like to see more snaps from him going forward. How do you guys feel about him as far as what's his upside as a true running back in this offense?
I wouldn't. I don't think they really utilize him in that kind of role. I think they kind of stick with more of the running back / receiver, DeAnthony Thomas, like you said, kind of role for him. He's just more explosive when he does that. I wouldn't mind him getting some carries, here and there when somebody else needs to be spelled or whatever. But I already know he's not your prototypical bell cow. Hand the ball off to him, 15, 20 times in a game and tell him to go do it. I don't think he's that type of player. I do think that there's a possibility that he could do a lot more at the receiving position, being split out wide. I would like to see that a little bit more, maybe some in the slot too, as well. I just think that that's more of what his role is to me. I know everybody loves his explosion, but I don't really see him as like a Jahmyr Gibbs type of guy where you can just tell him he's the workhorse and he goes and gets it like that. So I like the role that he's in right now. I would definitely love to see him utilize a lot more in the punt return game as well too, and in the kick return game. So that goes back to firing Dave Tobe. I think he should be the primary guy for that at this point. I think he gives you the most juice. Him and Tyquan back there. I don't know what we were doing, wasting all that time this year putting Nico back there, but it just never seemed like we got anything out of that. So hopefully next year he's utilized in more ways like that.
No, I agree. I think everything Brashard Smith showed when he was at Miami and SMU kind of everything complemented on those 2 exact plays we had versus Denver. So to John's question, I think he's both. He's an athlete. Like, he's been that way his whole career. He's a guy that anywhere he touches the ball, he can make play, whether he's splitting the slot, like DG said, or he's lined up in the backfield. I think anywhere you put him, he's an explosive player, and he gives a mismatch for defense, and he gives them a headache of where they want to line him up because you have to indicate where he's at on the field, or unless you're going to have your primary defender be focused on whoever the guy is in our offense next year, whether that's Rasheed or any other guy we have to the offense. You have to worry about him when he's on the field because when he touches the ball, he can make someone miss and either get a first down or he can score. So yeah, anywhere he's on the field, he's just a weapon for us. So I'm fine wherever they line him up at, whether it's in the slot, in the motion. I would love to see him in the jet sweep game. To DMac's point, I've been screaming for that all year because when you have a guy that fast and that explosive, you have to respect it. So anytime he's in the field on third down, I'd love to get him involved more in the screen game. He's just an overall gadget player that I think Andy would love in this offense, especially because you can use him in the red zone in that Jet McKinnon role that we've all been used to. So I think this is only, like I said, this is just a preview of what he can be in this offense. He has so much more to prove and so much more he can do for us. So I'm excited for next year, another full offseason for him to learn, be more comfortable, be more confident in the offense and the scheme, and again, get better coaches as far as the rider, just some adjustments as far as the receiver and the running back room to get guys on the field more and just got to bang the table for those guys. No disrespect to Nico, but just we need these kind of guys touching the football because they're more explosive. So definitely excited to see what he does in 26 for sure.
Yeah, and I think that the aspect specifically when it comes to how he fits into this running back room is going to be a massive piece. That's just what it comes down to, because I think that you got to have investments both in free agency and the draft that will be more, I should say, higher on the depth chart, quote unquote, than where, you know, in theory you would have him obviously going into the offseason where he's the only guy on the roster. But like you said, I just think that they need to get more creative in being able to use his specific skill set, because he has a skill set that could be a mismatch if you have the proper usage of him in the system as well. And it doesn't have to just be, you know, obviously when he's the lone running back on the field, it can be a two-back set where you create mismatches at the backfield too. So I think it is something that they need to explore, and it feels like it's a secondary piece and something that's on the back burner, but something that they need to incorporate into the offense. And he should be the primary returner as well. That should be without question. So sticking on the offensive side of the ball, I did just want to highlight real quick. Jeffrey Bassa. We're going to get to Jeffrey Bassa in a bit. Jalen Royals, I should say, did technically start, but he didn't actually, you know, really get a chance to make an impact. Unfortunately, as he played only 5 offensive snaps and only one of those was a passing down snap. We can just repeat again. We'd obviously like to see more from him into this Week 18 game. God knows if it's actually going to happen. Of course, Xavier Worthy was limited in today's practice with illness. So we did have this blocking snap in which I thought he did a pretty good job out in space, and please do ignore Isaiah Pacheco not doing a great job off of this counter run. But yeah, went ahead and took care of the cornerback pretty far downfield and provided a nice lane that unfortunately Pacheco wasn't able to necessarily take advantage of. But there was that was obviously one of the 4 running down snaps that he ended up being a part of. And then there was this passing down snap, which I was what? Go ahead, DJ.
No, Bronco fans have to hate Riley Moss, dog. I'd be so irritated with Riley Moss, bro. Like, there's no way I would want him on the team.
Anybody they hate on their team is definitely him, for sure.
That's funny. No, you're not lying. No, you good.
I know they hate him, seeing him out there, boy.
You getting bullied by Jalen Royals down the field is crazy, gang.
He the clear weak link. That's a fact.
So the passing down snap that Jalen Royals was a part of did involve what was a play design that I was a little bit concerned about. He's at the bottom of the screen here for you guys that may not see him there. He's bottom of the screen. He's going to run a little kind of fake crossing route and then sit kind of in the middle of the field here. And the design of it is to hold that Mike linebacker in the middle of the field for the route combination that is at the top of the screen. Now, this can always be an error from the quarterback and how he played called the play in the huddle as to why it was. I do not understand why you would run a 4 verts concept to the boundary side when you're on the right hash mark, because then it shortens the ability for you to operate in space and try to stretch the defense. As you see, nobody really is open in this route concept. Broncos do a good job of covering it up, and so Chris ends up scrambling. And a lot of people were like, well, if Royals just cuts it outside, then he would have been open, which in theory, yes, he would have. But the problem is that he's running a route so they can get other people open, which we can have a long conversation about how that's an issue in Andy Reid's system. But in this case, he does run the route that's called. It's just unfortunately nothing to get open off of. So that was his run passing down snap. Again, I just highlighted because I feel like it needs to be highlighted. He needs to play Week 18. Lord knows if it's going to happen. We will see. So frustrating.
He ain't gonna play.
This makes no sense.
Just
bro.
wait till training camp,
like,
bro.
dog. Like,
We didn't even play during the
game.
Tennessee game, bro. Like this. Wait till training camp, bro. They don't want the boys to play.
I don't get it.
They don't need to see nothing, I guess. I don't know. So it is what it is.
He must,
Yeah,
bro.
it's bad.
He must have said something. He must know something about Andy or something. He must have called Andy Reid a punk or something, bro. He did something. I'm convinced.
Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, so that's Jalen Royals one passing down snap. Before we get to the defensive side of the ball, we can wait. You said I thought, my bad. I was gonna put this on screen real quick. I thought there would have been more plays with Royals because I thought, in theory, yeah, that is kind of true. But you know, again, they just refuse to put him out there. It doesn't make any sense. I wish I could tell you guys.
John, that's when you'll get the reps, guys. It is what it is.
But those aren't live reps.
It's not
those
live.
are like
It's not live reps.
Bruh.
You know, like
it's not. And again, you know what? I just thought of it so top of my head. This is really the most frustrating thing about it. Last year, week 18, we played a team that needed that game badly. It was the Denver Broncos. They had really good defense. You know what you were able to go out there and see in that week 18 game? Kingsley Suamataia at left guard.
Mm-hmm.
And Kingsley Suamataia getting those live reps at left guard, I guarantee helps you. And it helped him be ready for what was his transition this year, in which he was a really good left guard for you. You have an opportunity to use these games, especially versus good teams, specifically when you're talking about, obviously we know the Titans aren't a good team, but they show whooped y'all. But we know the Denver Broncos are a team that needed this game. And you could have used this as an opportunity to get real film, real live NFL game reps to say, hey, these are the weaknesses where we need to work on. These are what we need to improve upon. This is what you could do well. This is what we're comfortable with. And just the refusal to use that. I thought Seth Kaiser did a good job of putting this on Only Real Games. It's just an apathy. It's just a lack of urgency. And it's frustrating because it felt like the entire season there's been a lack of urgency with being able to change and adjust to the things that aren't working for this team, whether it's personnel or scheme. And it certainly feels like now that you've gotten to this point in the season, the coaching staff is just accepting. It's like, oh, well, we just got to do the status quo and just get to the end of the season. We'll try hard. We'll just tweak one or two things and we'll hope that we can win these last few games. No, you need to be building for next year. And that lack of that and that lack of urgency has frustrated the heck out of me as we've gotten down the stretch here. And that's been a part of it, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see Royals. Hopefully we see more of them week 18. They need these live reps, in my personal opinion, because you got to learn more about that. And we'll obviously talk about that on the defensive side. Do you guys want to answer this question? Chris Jones.
Hey, man, get this off my screen.
I mean, like, I'll answer it. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. I just think that it'd have to be a situation where it's the right move for the Chiefs. But I don't see it happen. I think there's a more possibility that Trent gets traded than Chris Jones does. I don't think you're trading
Chris retiring at Chiefs, man.
A cornerstone piece. Unless somebody just wows you with a deal that you probably just couldn't pass up or something like that. And some team would obviously have to be seriously stupid to do that at this point. So, yeah, no one's just what John said. No one's touching that contract.
I still think I think that because of the way that NFL salary cap is structured, especially signing bonuses are concerned, you could probably convince a team to. I don't know. People keep saying the contract is sizable. Don't get me wrong, but he is an A plus impact player in the interior defensive line. Yeah. If you need an alpha along your defensive line, I get it. I can understand why that could happen. The thing I'll say is this: if I had it my way, and again, this is just me, I would be taking it very slow and deliberate with Patrick Mahomes' recovery, in the sense that I would be setting up this roster for 2027 more so than 2026 specifically. And that is both to make sure that I'm not rushing anything with Patrick Mahomes, but more so to give me time to prepare this team to be at a championship level and not necessarily say I got to fix everything in one off season. Does that end up happening? I think it's very unlikely. A, because we know who Patrick Mahomes is, obviously, but B, and most importantly, because Andy Reid doesn't want to just say, hey, we're going to take this year as a bridge year into next year. That's just not going to happen. It's very unrealistic. So if, in my opinion, if somebody came with you and said, "Hey, I got, a first round pick, a young player, and then another day 2 pick for Chris Jones, or 2 first round picks for Chris Jones," I would accept that deal. I just don't think that they're going to be in the mode to do so. Which, hey, that's going to be on them to see if they can figure it out without doing such a move. And that's, I understand why they wouldn't. So yeah, along those lines, let's go ahead and flip to the defensive side of the ball, in which we could talk about. We'll talk about Jeffrey Bassa first, and then we'll get to the secondary guys because I think it is important to talk about them. So Jeffrey Bassa, I thought, obviously coming to this game, Jeffrey Bassa, a lot of people, when Leo Chanel went on IR, said, "Oh, well, Jeffrey Bassa can get more snaps." Not necessarily immediate because of the fact that obviously Jeffrey Bassa is more of a will linebacker. Leo plays the Sam linebacker position. So that's the reason why. Now, this is me saying this now. Jeffrey Bassa should have been getting defensive snaps in this defense, in my opinion, because he could have been a good coverage linebacker the entirety of the season. As it didn't happen. Frustrating again with the personnel decisions, of course. Jeffrey Bassa, unfortunately, is 6th as far as linebackers on the Chiefs this year, as far as linebacker snaps, which is insane to me. Behind guys like Cooper McDonald and Jack Cochran, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. However, in this game, he did have limited snaps. In the fact that he really only played 2 series and flashed in those 2 series. The big thing for Jeffrey Bassa is he's a good athlete. I think he does a good job at understanding space and time, and he's got good instincts. And you see that in these 2 snaps here. The big thing is he's undersized because he used to be a safety. He moved to linebacker. He can get washed up in the run game. And so he has to be very specific about being in the right place at the right time. And I thought he did a good job on this run fit. You'll see this in the motion across throughout the backfield. So he slides over a gap. He plays with the kind of outside zone. He initially flashes in that A gap, then bounces over to get to that B gap. And in that time, Jerry Tillery is able to split the double team and be able to make RJ Harvey bounce it all the way outside. And Cook does a good job coming downhill and forcing RJ out of bounds. But I thought this was a good process of saying, hey, I know where I need to be. I slide over the gap, get into that A gap, make sure he can't cut back there. Tillery does a good job of cutting off that front side hole. Cook does a good job running the alley. And I thought that was a nice show of flash for his run fit skills. And that is a big thing that he's going to have to show if he can be a will linebacker on a consistent basis as well. You guys got anything you want to mention on that front?
Go ahead, CJ.
Nope, that was it. Just athleticism, speed. It pops off the screen. Just want to see him get more reps.
Yep, absolutely. So then this is the way in which I feel like he could have been elevated this defense at the second level with his coverage skills. He is right by that logo at the bottom there, by that Chiefs midfield logo right at the 50. So the Bo Nix obviously is going to turn his back here. He's going to have play action fake to RJ Harvey, sticks the ball out. Jeffrey Bassa does take that one step in immediately, and then immediately is able to change the direction and sink to this curl flat area that he's going to be responsible for in the zone concept. They basically have a 3-3 look on the backside. They're sending 5 in the pressure. And he sinks enough to that curl flat to make sure he can discourage any type of corner route. And then once he sees that Bo Nix is going to release this ball, immediately triggers downhill on RJ Harvey to make sure that he's in position to make a tackle, which would have been basically a 1-yard gain if RJ had ended up catching the ball. And because Jeffrey Bassa ended up triggering so well, I think he heard some footsteps and ended up dropping it ultimately, which again is just good process from RJ Harvey, instincts wise, coverage wise, and then the speed and athleticism to make a good play there at the end of the play. And this is what we've been talking about, how he can help this defense at the second level. Obviously, we want to see more from him coming up in this next game. Obviously, the Raiders are going to be trying to run the ball with Ashton Genty. So if we can see more of those rundown snaps, that'd be very useful as well. Anything you guys want to add as far as the Jeffrey Bassa aspect in general?
You want it to be positive or negative?
You add whatever you want to, brother.
It just baffles me, man, that you have a safety. You don't use him at all in coverage situations this year. Especially when your linebackers were obviously struggling in that area. It's just kind of stupid to me. But I don't know. I don't want to sit here and claim that I know more football than Steve Spagnuolo does, but I know when I see talent. And I know when I see somebody that can do a job better than Cooper McDonald or Jack Conklin can.
Or Drew Tranquil for that matter.
Yeah, or Drew Tranquil for that matter. Like, you could have used him. There was points in times this year, especially like against Dalton Kincaid, you could have used him. Who else this year? It tight end cooked you.
Well, that was really the only big game we really gave up. He had 100 on us.
Yeah, but still,
outside
man,
of like last year, the year before, we were really bad at tight end. This year, we obviously got better, marginally wise. But that game where we wanted Jeff to play was the Buffalo game. You decided not to play him. So, no, overall, I think a lot of young guys, we wanted to get more snaps next year, Jeff included, just like we talked about Brashard and Jalen. And for them not to play in this Tennessee, Denver, hopefully they play in this Raiders week, but I'm not expecting it at all. It's mind-boggling. It's coaching malpractice. We've said that all year. I'm going to give these coaches the benefit of the doubt. They've won us a lot of they've won a lot of big games for us, and they made a mistake this year with developing or choosing which guys should play. So I'm going to give them one offseason, DG, to fix these wrongs and correct themselves. So if we're having these same conversations going into next year, then like DMac said, some guys need to get let go because clearly you don't care about the betterment of the team. You just care about yourself. And if you're going to be selfish, then you don't need to be here. So guys need to play. Guys need to impact this roster and help us win games, which we clearly see they can. So we'll see what happens in training camp and going into the preseason. But, yeah, we know these guys need to be on the field. Jeff is included. Jeff needs to be our starting Will backer next year, no question. There's some guys that we like in the draft that can add to that room. We just need to get faster. When you look at these defenses in the NFL, especially the elite ones, they're fast at every level. They have good edges with speed. They have linebackers with speed. They have although their safeties can hit and cover. When you have guys that can run at all three levels, it gives you reasons that you can cover up some mistakes with their speed. If you're slow-footed and you're stuck in sand, it's hard to cover up, and guys are play actioning and using speed across the field and stretching a defense horizontally and vertically. It just makes it harder for your defense because you can't cover everything as a defense naturally, but you can at least put your guys in positions to succeed, and they can cover up for a mistake with their speed. So Jeff is a guy that has athleticism. It popped off on screen for those two plays that DMac just showed, and that's just only, like I said, just like Brashard, that's only a preview of what he can do for this defense. He can do so much more with his speed and his blitz ability. So I'm excited for Jeff. I'm excited for Brashard and all the young guys, but I think this will probably be the most exciting training camp I've been to in a while this upcoming year, honestly. Usually the ones we kind of know what to expect and we know what's going to happen, but I'm more excited this year than ever. Obviously, we want to see Pat rehab and recover the right way, but there's so many young guys on this roster that can play, like DG said. So, and the guys need reps. They need to be out there and be better. So I'm super excited to go to St. Joe next year, man, and see these young guys flash and just continue to grow and be better players because we see the talent is there. We just have to put them out there.
The thing is, it's like if you go through the Chiefs just starting defense, George Kalafdis is slow. Derek Noddy or Mike Piniella slow. Love Chris Jones. He's quick, but he's getting older. Charles Omenihu, Mike Dana, both slow. Ash Gelati's somewhat fast, I suppose, but that's even
burst,
yeah, it's fine. Leo Chanel is fast in a straight line. Nick Bolton is slow. Drew Tranquil is slow. And like Trent McDuffie is fast. I say that. Jalen Watson lacks long speed. That is a weakness of Jalen Watson's game. Shamari Connor's slow, and he also thinks slow. Not in a negative sense, a derogatory sense, I should say, but also just the way he plays the game. Brian Cook actually got back to health this year, so I would say that he actually plays faster. And Jaden Hicks does play fast. He makes mistakes, but he does play fast. So you're saying maybe 3 out of your starters are actually fast for the position players? That means you got a slow defense and teams can take advantage of it, and there's just too much space to operate. And so that's just not a way to make a living in the National Football League on defense. It just isn't. You can have all the smart players in the world that you want to. You can have all of the nice scheme in the world that you want to, but you just can't live versus NFL athletes if more than half of your defense is slow. That's just not how it's going to work, especially when quarterbacks are more mobile than ever. So, they got to get faster. Jeffrey Bassa being on the field certainly will help them, and hopefully we see more of that just starting week 18. Really quickly did want to mention Noah Williams, Christian Fulton both played very well. Obviously, we know Noah Williams should have been playing this entirety of the year. Christian Fulton said that this felt like the first game that he had played the entirety of the year based on, I guess, his health really from that aspect as well. The only thing I really personally wanted to mention, obviously we know Noah Williams. We know the cornerback position is going to be in flux as well. They should keep Christian Fulton, in my opinion. I think Christian Fulton being on this team for 2026, given the fact that you've already committed to him, obviously you can maybe save a little bit of money by cutting him. in my opinion, I think if you get a healthy season out of him, he can provide what you saw versus the Broncos on Christmas. And I think given the fact that the other cornerbacks, specifically the top two on this roster, are going to be in flux, and the defensive back room in general is going to be, I think Christian Fulton stay on this roster makes sense. You guys got anything as far as Noah Williams and Christian Fulton are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the Christian Fulton you're gonna get going into next year, I have no problem keeping him on this roster. But he's definitely got to be healthy, especially going into next training camp and things of that nature. But I like what I saw. I thought that's what he was kind of capable of the whole time before he initially signed here or whatever, or when he actually signed here. So I was glad to see him being back. I think this is probably the game that he was probably back to being fully healthy again, and it looked that way. So hopefully you get that going into next year, because now obviously you have some questions with losing Jalen Watson and him in free agency, which I think Jalen Watson is probably going to go on the market and get a fairly decent deal, in which he deserves, especially being a 7th round guy or whatever. This is a huge payday for him. So I think ultimately you're probably going to have to figure out a way to keep Christian Fulton on this roster moving forward, and having hopefully him, McDuffie, and Noah Williams going forward.
Thanks. No, I love what Christian did. That's kind of the same thing we saw out of him at LSU and with the Chargers last few years. He can be a solid number 2 corner, a guy that can play outside, and we need that, especially when we want to move Trent around and let him be that roam corner that we love for his play style, for him to play in the slide and just move around based on matchups. So if that's the kind of Christian Fulton we're going to get, I'll love it. And like DG said, appreciate Jay Watt for everything he did. He helped us win multiple Super Bowls. He did everything a 7th-round pick could dream of, and now he deserves to go get his money. So if that's the guy we're going to get in Christian, you can line him and Noel up outside, move Trent inside in the slide, which is what our defense is good when we're at our best, when Trent is inside, and then we can go out there and truly cover every position. So I think we're in a good spot going into next year, and I think if there's any position that Beach does evaluate and draft well, is DB, even more so corner. So I think we're in a good place, and Christian Fulton played well. And I know injuries suck, and nobody can predict them. And obviously we saw him in training camp, and we saw him get suited up a couple of days. Me and DG saw it, and most days he was on the side getting work. So it was kind of in flux with his knee. We didn't know how bad it was. Nobody knew the situation better than him. But obviously we know he wanted to be out there, but he just wasn't ready to play that Denver game after the bye. That's why I truly don't understand why Spags put him in that situation for a guy that hasn't played all year, and arguably that was the biggest game of our season at that point. For you to throw him out there in that position, I thought that was a bad coaching decision, in my opinion, respectfully to Spags. And never want to question his coaching adamant and his brain, but I thought that was a bad decision in that point, in my opinion. Not to say he can't play at all this year, but to put him in that position, you're telling him to go start full time with our season on the line at that point, that was a bad decision. That should have been a Noah Williams spot. He's been playing well for you up to that point. There's no reason to take him out of the starting lineup. So I think Christian Fulton showed you what kind of player he can be. A solid number 2 corner. He can play outside against most receivers. Obviously, he'll struggle against certain guys, with the elite guys, but for our division, he can play well against the receivers we're going to see. So I would love for him to come back next year. We got him on a 2-year deal, so he's going to be on the roster. So if he plays out there, you put Noel outside and Trent in the slot, make a couple adjustments at safety, I think our secondary will be in a much better spot than it was in 2025 than going into 26. So I love what I saw from Christian for sure. It looked like the LSU kid that I watched tape on.
There it is. Sorry. And absolutely. We will certainly be watching a whole lot more tape as we get into draft season, which will start pretty much immediately. We've got something for you guys coming up next week as far as kind of the top of the draft is concerned. A lot of the guys that you guys will be hearing about, I would say, recently, and we're going to talk a little bit later on into the podcast.
Good night to watch guys tonight.
Yes,
Make
it
sure
will
you
be.
tap in. Some guys
Tap in tonight.
We will highlight some guys that you guys should be tuned into UM and Ohio State for specifically. Actually, the game's coming up here in about 15 minutes too. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. So obviously, real quick, obviously we mentioned Bassa, Brashard Smith, Royals, etc. Is there anybody that you think that we actually will see on Sunday? You don't have to give an explanation. Just anybody you think we will see. Young guy.
My hopes would be to see more Brashard Smith. Possibly, yeah. I mean, the usuals. I think Jalen Royals does play a lot more going into this game.
Jared Wiley, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Wiley get some reps. Hopefully,
I don't need to see him play, but
yeah,
Damian Pierce. But I've already seen him play the NFL. But I mean, just to get out there and get some reps for him. But I don't know if he really needs to at this point. So
I saw a little bit of good snaps from Zach Pickens, so I hope to see more snaps from him specifically. And then I'll also mention I would, if Trey Smith doesn't play in this game, he was obviously questionable or he didn't practice today. I would like to see Hunter Norris at left guard.
Asking Gelati should get all the DN snaps.
Yeah,
all of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, obviously. So that's it as far as the rest of the season is concerned. We don't gotta talk about this anymore specifically.
Boys, get ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could turn the page as far as this top 10 pick is concerned. I wanted to run through just a quick mock draft just based on the fact that the Chiefs are now picking at 8. And again, we're going to pick at 8 and then we're going to pick at 12 just because those are, kind of the extremes in which the Chiefs can end up picking it in this upcoming season. But you obviously end up at number 8, then you can talk about some really impressive draft prospects. Jordan Tyson being one of them, David Bailey, Peter Woods, who I really like out of Clemson, and talk about him, Ruben Bain Jr., who will be playing tonight that we'll talk about as well, Kendrick Falk as well, defensive end. Where do you guys want to go for this pick right here?
Bain Bailey for me. Either way, give me one of the B's need to be in KC. Bailey is the guy that we need for speed. That's what we want as fans. Bain will be a guy that Spags will like because he's strong. He has strong arms. He can set the edge, and he has decent pass rush ability. So either one of those I'd be cool with. If I had a choice, I'm picking Bailey. But Bain or Bailey, that's my choice.
DG.
David Bailey's gonna be there. If we pick at 8, David Bailey's probably gonna be there.
More than likely,
more than likely, they're gonna probably pass on him. Just
based on the Chiefs' history, they probably would.
Yeah, he doesn't fit naturally, and I'm setting this up so people don't. They go into it with disappointment already.
Gotta have the options.
He doesn't. I don't think that they like the fact that he doesn't play against the run really well. He's not the run stuffer that Speed Spagnola likes in his edge position or whatever. But man, you talk about a guy who can really bend the corner, man, and get after the quarterback.
That, boy.
Be awesome to have. So in the fantasy world, if this is fantasy world, then yeah, take David Bailey. But I also think Ruben Bain would be there too, and I don't think they'll like his measurements. But
yeah, right. I almost say, I mean, I like Kendrick Falk, a little bit more than Ruben Bain.
I like Falk too, but I don't think he's not better.
If I had to rank them, I would go Bailey, Bain, and Falk if I had to rank those 3. That's how I rank.
Yeah, I get it definitely as well. We will talk about a deeper dive with all of these guys going into next week's pod, I should say specifically. But we'll go with Bailey. Since he is here, we can still dream. It's early on. So getting to the second round, Amari Washington certainly makes sense as a nice defensive line prospect. Well, before I start going, let's see. I'm not going back there. Yeah, I'm good. Way too far back. Christian Miller.
I've done a couple of these where I've doubled up on edge. Although if we took David Bailey, I do think a guy like R. Mason Thomas would be a really good pick if you were able to get him at 40 or something like that. Another guy that they really could bend the corner for you, play with speed out there on the edge, but also I think he's a little bit better than David Bailey in the run game. So that might fit more what the Chiefs are looking for. So it could be one of those things where they wait till the second round to pick up an edge.
And even so, I mean, obviously the run stuffing defensive line aspect of it. If you end up going with a guy like a Ruben Bain, who is a little bit more of an inside-out versatility guy, but certainly is a run stuffer on early downs, or a guy like Kendrick Falk for that matter too, then a guy like R. Mason Thomas allows you to kick one of those guys inside, on pass down snaps, which helps with that too.
That'd be a nice front though. Bain, Chris Jones, and R. Mason. I would like that side. I ain't gonna lie.
Would be a nice combination. With Bailey being the first pick, do you guys have a second pick here that you like a lot?
Amari wouldn't be bad right here.
Amari wouldn't be bad. Yeah, corner is what I would look at too.
Anthony Hill, a dog. He would make our linebacker room.
Yeah, I would love that.
I
don't know if
we wouldn't do it because it's too early.
Yeah,
I would love that. Hill, bro. That would be so nice.
And I kind of think you already if that would make me believe they really don't believe in Bassa at this point.
Yeah, that would kind of push him down the depth chart.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because Anthony would definitely. I'm sorry,
Anthony Hill,
he's taking Bassa's job.
Jeff and Nick. Oh my god.
Let's go ahead, DG.
No, I was gonna say Gabe would be a good pick as well too here if you wanted to double up on. But I'd probably look at corner.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any? I don't think there's any corners that I love in this range.
I don't.
Yeah, not right here.
Keith Abney's not bad, but Will Lee, I think it's still a little early for him as well too. I think he's a guy you could probably get in the third round as well. You could look at tight end too at this point.
I don't think there's anybody I would take. Even though I do like Claire, but nobody I would take this early either. Let's go with Washington. Washington is a large human, 330 pounds, but he does have kind of rare quickness that goes with this game. That's pretty impressive in my personal opinion. So I do like that pick too. We come back around here. We get a look at Max Claire that is there as well. Running back, wide receiver, as far as offensive playmakers after being able to attack defensive line as well. We're at the DB room and then linebacker just to see if anybody really pops here. So Max Claire certainly would be Jadarian Price, who is a lot of people's running back too. Probably will end up there as far as that is concerned, but I want to do a little bit of work on some other guys before that. Elias Stowers that I do like, obviously, too. Emmett Johnson's there, Mark Cooper Jr. So anybody you guys specifically want with this second pick?
This is third round, so
yeah, third pick. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be mad if this is where they go running back. I'm more of an Emmett Johnson guy myself.
Yeah, that's the one I want to watch some more snaps before I say that I'm snapping Jadarian over him.
Yeah. I like LJ, but the injury history concerns me. I think Jadarian Price is nice. I think he could fit in our offense, but to DG's point, you can get Emmett Johnson, and I think he's a low-key more explosive player and just as good a value, and you can get him later on. You don't got to reach this early for him. So in this spot, I probably would attack maybe one of those tight ends that we like. Maybe like I don't know if we like
is Max
Stowers and Max.
Yeah, I was about to say, who do you have as your tight end too? I suppose behind Sadiq in this draft.
These guys, I would probably have Stowers personally.
Okay,
over Max.
Yeah,
I like Stowers. So we'll
Stowers,
Claire. I think some of those running backs will still be available after this pick. That's the crazy part. This running back class is low key, not as deep as last year, but it's still a very deep room.
We can move back with one of these teams, see what we can grab. Let's see. I'm just seeing to see if any one of these teams has a pick in between. No, they do not. Okay, so let's. Maybe move up. Any of that done? All right, I'll take it. All right, move back a little bit. Grab an extra pick between. Let's say we go Eli Stowers, and then we'll let it run to 110 and see who's there. K-Tron. So both running backs did go. Obviously, Emmett. Where did he end up going? Emmett went quickly. Yeah, Emmett went 80 to the Ravens.
Malik Brown would be a guy I wouldn't mind too, and I think you could get him later on in later rounds as well too.
Okay.
Good pass catching back option, but it has that kind of explosiveness that you're looking for as well too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Trying to see. Keontae. I do like Miami's. We will talk about this. Funny enough, because we did not take Max Claire, but Max Claire versus the Miami safeties is going to be an interesting matchup tonight, I should say as well. Anybody standing out for you guys amongst the DBs? Really the next up guys, running back, obviously, wide receiver too.
Is Takario still there?
Yeah, Takario is.
I wouldn't mind him. We've always had success picking Washington DBs.
That is true.
Turned two of them into all pros. So
That we have. Obviously, Takario Davis, a guy that I think comes with some real ball skills. I would say that, which is something that I think that we need more of, in my personal opinion. He's a long, lanky guy. He's 6'4" as well. You know, maybe a little bit as far as lacking that speed, but we know obviously how much Dave Merritt and Spags like those guys. I think we could wait a little bit on Takario specifically, but I do like him as a possible fit. K-Tron, I feel a little bit rich for me, probably.
Look at what's the running backs again? K-Tron Allen. I know he's the top guy right now.
K-Tron, Malik Brown just says.
Jamari, Darius. Darius is always my sleeper guy. I like Jamal. I like Justice.
Jaden Ott's not bad either.
Yeah, a lot of people did not like when I picked Jaden Ott in my thing. I'm like, he's still an explosive back. Jaden Ott is going to be Jaden Ott for me is going to be one of those guys where I trust the 2024 tape, even if the 2025 tape doesn't look spectacular. And he didn't get a lot of run, to be perfectly honest either.
In this situation, obviously, we'd probably be in a spot where obviously we would have to be more aggressive in free agency. Like if we got one of the guys, like we know that this free agency class for running back is really good. There's a lot of guys that are available. I know they'll be more expensive because free agency, you have to unfortunately overpay. If they were able to get one of those guys that we said, like we all like, obviously Javonte, we like Dowdle. If we were able to get a Kenny Gainwell, if we can get one of the guys we like in free agency, I would be okay with passing up on a running back in our first 3 or 4 picks because we got that free agency guy that I can get a guy later like a Odd, or we can get a Taylor or anybody else later on. So
I'm actually gonna go ahead.
What's the edges look like at this point?
It's funny enough. I was legitimately about to say right now I was going to pick Akeem Messidor, who was somebody that impressed me in the first round. Yeah, who pressed me in the first round.
He's still here. That's a great value.
Yeah,
he impressed me in the first. He balls out, he's gonna go up.
Yeah, and I think he impressed me in the first round of the playoffs for Miami. Again, you can watch this tonight, going up against a good offensive line in OSU. Even though their right guard is, I think it's the first game starting for their right guard. It'll be interesting to see if they could take advantage of it. But he is an older prospect, but he has real pass rush polish and the ability to create pressure, win one-on-ones on a consistent basis, can do it from the outside or the inside. So I would actually go and say that we can get a versatile addition to the defensive line room in this place, just because I don't like the way that's necessarily falling right here. Because if you look right prior to that, unfortunately,
your D-line room with those picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. If we had a guy like Jay Rodriguez fall to that place, then that'd be great. But I think that Akeem falling is probably going to be a late third, maybe even a higher mid third to 4th round pick. So I think that's a good look for being able to add him to the room. I think here we can go get Takario Davis if he should be still available. Oh, thank you, Mike. Nope, there he is. We'll go ahead and grab Takario Davis right there. We'll see if Kilgore's classified as a cornerback by PFF still, right? Yeah, there he is. But he did go. Let's see running back real quick. We'll add linebacker too. Harold Perkins still there, who honestly, if you're getting rid of Leo Shadell, I think actually does make sense as a pick. Darius Taylor also still there as well. Obviously, Kevin Coleman a little bit further down. Anybody catch you guys' eye?
I like Le'Veon Moss, but I don't like.
I hate the.
I don't like him for us though.
It's just he's a good player. God, he can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
Bryce Lance is an interesting wide receiver to look that we'll watch as we get into combine season and see how he tests and things of that nature. He's going to be somebody to look out for. He is Trey Lance's brother, but he does bring obviously a bigger body, a wide receiver. I like some of the things I saw from him. So I'd be tempted to go Harold Perkins and then hope that a running back falls to us in the next pick.
With this running back room, none of these guys are really worth reaching for. But Harold Perkins right here is an amazing value. You just made your defense instantly faster with those 3 picks we made.
Absolutely. So we'll see what 202 brings. It does look like your guy might have gone. Where did he go? No.
Darius, somebody grabbed.
Darius, yeah.
Is Raleigh still on there?
Is he? Let's see.
I wouldn't mind Noah Whittington.
Yeah, I like Noah.
Especially at this late.
He's probably the guy I pretty much like the most out of this group left over. Yeah, if this had a board for it, we would have to be aggressive in free agency and go get a
Yeah,
guy.
for sure.
For sure.
Absolutely. Let's see. Just double check safety wise if there's anybody. Let's see. Safety and wide receiver. Yeah. So, I guess we just took Kramer, so we'll be good there. I anybody wide receiver or safety wise also catch your eye?
Nobody I'm willing to.
Yeah.
Catalan. Nobody banging the table for
no. Squirrel White.
We'll go with Noah Whittington.
I like Noah. He's explosive. Another guy you can watch tomorrow.
Yes, Noah Whittington will be playing for Oregon against Texas Tech. A very good defense. Will be an interesting test to see what he does out there. So RJ Maryland is a guy that I just want to highlight really quickly. RJ Maryland had a really good 2024, in my opinion. He is a large human, specifically for a tight end position, I think. And I think he does a really good job of blocking. And it's an underrated skill, but I think it's a very important skill, specifically for where this Chiefs offense needs to go to evolve and catch up to other modern offenses that are having really good effectiveness. So I wanted to highlight him. The other guy I would say is Jair Hill. Do you guys feel strongly about anybody necessarily left on the board here to go with?
Nah, not for real.
No. All right, so we'll go with RJ Maryland and throw him on here to finish this off. Where did RJ go? There he is. There's RJ Maryland. I'll finish it off there.
Get you a blocker.
Yeah, get you a blocking tight end to add to this room. A lot of speed added to the defensive side when you talk about David Bailey,
we definitely
got Perkins. Certainly to add to that, Amari Washington, big body in the defensive line to help there. Eli Stowers, offensive playmaker at the tight end position. Scario Davis certainly adding to the cornerback room. Noah Whittington adding to the running back room as well. So, boy, that tight end position would be kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. with Stowers,
that'd be a fun. You got Noah, Jared, RJ, and Eli.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Be a hell of a room. You got Brink still fighting for snaps. That'd be a hell of a camp. Well, I'll be watching that group every day. That'd be a hell of a camp.
So yeah, we'll and then we'll run one more from the other position at the 12, and then we'll go ahead and get on out of here with a little bit of college football playoff talk as well, and go ahead and download that real quick. And go back to the simulator.
Boo, Ohio State. Boo.
Boo. I don't care. Just cash my ticket.
All right, there we go. Oh, there you go. All right, so from 12 position, we get here, and we have the ability to take Ruben Bain or Keldrick Falk. I know you guys said you like Bain a lot, so we can go ahead and pick Bain. Versatile defensive lineman, obviously comes with some question marks as far as his arm length, which is going to be very interesting to watch as far as his viability for the Chiefs. Obviously, they do value the arm length, especially on the defensive line. They like their long athletes, to say the least. So in this mock, I believe Mason Thomas did end up going to the Giants there at 34. So we'll look at some offensive playmaker options as well as DBs and then defensive linemen too, to see where we want to go with this next pick. Casey Concepcion, I don't think necessarily fits, only because we have a lot of these guys that he does fit our offense, and that he is a playmaker with the ball in his hands, can create a lot of yak opportunities as well. Big Citrus, Dante Corleone, both good defensive line options as well. I do like Ramsey at USC, has impressed me from the safety position too. Any guys for you guys kind of sticking out here at 44?
Braswell's another guy that I would, I wouldn't be mad if we went and got. As far as I know, people are tired of the small receivers, so Braswell obviously brings a lot more height to that room.
Yep.
But ultimately, I don't know how much
go
he
Dante or
actually
Dominique right here.
Yeah. Or to me, it's probably Ramsey is probably the pick for me, especially if you end up losing a Brian Cook in free agency.
Yeah, if you left Brady Cook, you have to replace him for sure.
We didn't get a chance to, because he keeps going top 5, right? I assume.
Cool.
Oh, no, he's going 7. I was gonna say we didn't have a chance to really have the Caleb Downs conversation But we can get into that obviously
I don't think he
next
touches
week.
8, in my opinion. I think he's gone,
Yeah.
guaranteed. He's way more of a lock.
You're saying if he drops to 8?
Boy, if he dropped to 8,
if he drops to 8, I'm running.
Spamming the button. Hey, Caleb, come on, gang. Come on.
Yes.
Quite possibly
Please.
the best true talent in this draft. But the reason why I was going to say that is that I think that in the same way that you pick a Caleb Downs because you think that he changes the face of your defense so that you can both play the run and the pass and not necessarily need to put a different type of personnel out there. I do think that Kamari Ramsey does have those sorts of traits that he can do that, just not to the level of which Caleb Downs can, specifically from the nickel and slot position as well.
If Caleb Downs is on the board
Hey,
at
bro,
8,
come on. We ain't
and
gotta
Brett
talk about this.
Veach doesn't take him, I will literally find Brett Veach's address and smack him myself.
It wouldn't even happen because I know he's gonna take him. He ain't that stupid. Like, come on,
there's
bro.
no way.
That's a guy. He could be the first overall pick in some drafts based on the board. So Caleb Downs, if he even snips 7, I'll be like, hey, bro.
Right? Yeah, even he slips. If he goes past 5, I'm like, hey,
I'm like, all right,
move up.
I'm like, all right, we need to move up.
Cooper is a big one right here.
Trade them
All right,
picks.
interesting. Huh?
To get rid of them picks.
Get rid of them picks. All right. Interesting between here, Big Citrus, Jadarian Price, and Emmett Johnson and Omar Cooper Jr. Obviously, Darrell. I got to figure out if he pronounces it like me or not. Darrell or Darrell. Interesting. Jackson Jr. from FSU, Jacob Rodriguez options here. We can do a trade back to 87. Pages. No, let's see 87. See if we can get 110 again. Okay. Give it to him. His straight up would be one to go. I mean, I could do that. I'll take the extra pick. All right. Fine with me. Move back to 87. We'll pick somebody here. Emmett Johnson's still here. Omar Cooper Jr. Darrell again. Jackson Jr. D'Angelo Pons, a guy out of Indiana that I really like as well. Keontae Scott, Jacob Rodriguez. We have already taken defensive line, I'll say that, and then Kamari Ramsey. You guys got a particular pick here. I'm leaning towards Emmett Johnson, but I also like Cooper Jr. What do you guys feel about?
I like Emmett Johnson pick at 87. I think that's insane value for him. To get an explosive back like that.
And
I think you're
just
probably
for people who haven't watched him, he didn't suit up today because he thinks of high value in the draft. So that tells you what the league thinks about him. They told him he didn't need to play today. So if you haven't watched him, go watch his tape, like we all say.
Particularly a game against Iowa.
He had a lot of good ones this year. My favorite one was the UCLA one, but the Iowa one was crazy.
That's 77. Go watch that 77-yard run.
Boy, tough. Hey, he even played in the Arrowhead game versus Cincinnati.
Yeah, he did play really well.
He was in that game.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. We got Will Lee here, who I did, obviously a little bit of a linkier cornerback.
I caught him in that game last week. He nice.
Yep. Tim Keenan, Jalen Kilgore, though I wouldn't necessarily invest in him after just did Ramsey. And we got kind of similar options here. I'd probably go Will Lee because I'm loving the defensive line options for me personally. How do you guys feel about the sport?
If it's, I hate saying, as a Texas fan, I hate saying this, but if it's Will Lee against Manny Muhammad, then I'm taking Will Lee. I just love his size. He's got the prototypical size that you want in a outside boundary corner. Decent ball skills as well too.
Bring him in.
Just plays with great instinct. Yeah, great instinct. I think he can have a really bright future in this. And he's a dog too, man. Like Will Lee he's gonna talk. He's gonna chirp. He's not afraid to get in there and mix it up. So definitely could be a good pick for the Chiefs. Bring a lot of attitude to that defensive side of the ball.
Hey, DG, go ahead and talk about Trey Moore for a little bit. I want to go right back to it.
Trey's interesting because he's extremely versatile. He's a guy I think he could potentially play at a stand-up linebacking position, but he also can rush the passer. I think he's a better pass rusher. He's kind of in that kind of Leo Chanel kind of role for me, where he can come into any defense and do some versatile things for them. But if I was a defensive coordinator, I'd probably put him on the line. I think that there are points in times where he could play off ball, but I know he's going to struggle in coverage or whatever. But then again, like I don't know. I didn't get enough out of him when he was at Texas, and I don't know if that was the moving up to the competition. He was at UTEP before. I think he led the nation in sacks, and he had like 13 and a half sacks that year before UTEP, and then he kind of got to Texas, and he just kind of got outshined by some of the other guys that were on that team. Particularly, I mean, Colin Simmons would probably be a top 5 pick in this draft right now. So I can't say that's somebody that you would be ultimately scared to be behind. But Trey's an interesting prospect. What I want him on the Chiefs, not particularly. Just because I don't know what he gives you pass rushing wise.
I wanted to hear how you kind of felt about him. I think that I like Sammy a little bit more, only because I like his sideline to sideline ability. And I think that he does attack the line of scrimmage very well, and he has coverage chops. So specifically, if you're going to play even front, I think that he fits a little bit better from that standpoint. That's why I would lean towards Sammy personally between the two of them. I just wanted to hear how you kind of felt about him too.
Love my Longhorn guys, but Trey's not a guy that I would be like, "Ooh, yeah, let's go get him."
Maybe a little rich. I go Harold if he keeps sitting on the board.
I know. I didn't want to double up.
He's calling us.
I know. I didn't want to double up on Harold only because
I wouldn't be mad.
Like every draft we've done, he's been available every time.
I was gonna say Oscar Delp was the one that I want to pick as well. I really like Bryce Lance. I gotta say, I really do like Bryce Lance and what I saw from him.
Fourth round, I wouldn't be mad at it. The receiver. I don't want to take it too high, but yeah, fourth round.
Yeah. Let's we'll hold off on Bryce because let's go Sammy, and then hopefully he should still be here. Yes, he is. So we'll go Delp again.
And the first sack of the game goes to Ruben Bain.
Trey is still sitting there.
I haven't even turned the game on. Ruben Bain already has a sack.
Ruben Bain got a sack. I know he got short arms, but don't matter.
He knows how to get his quarterback, don't he? You know how to get his quarterback. That's for sure.
And the Virtual Dig, he got the two edges both got to the quarterback. So either one of those guys, I'd be happy to have them. They're just explosive players.
There you go. Absolutely. Actually, I liked Grayson Hall because I remember, he kind of impressed me as an interior 3 tech penetrating guy. A little bit in the more normal lot type of mold. But I liked what he did for OU this year.
That whole defensive line for OU this year was nasty.
Bro, they were tough. Our Mason came
they were
back.
nasty.
They were dogged without him. And I'm like, bro, he was the best one in the group. He barely played.
Super nasty. There's anybody wide receiver wise that I really love. Here, we could double down on running back. You want to take Darius?
Yes, sir.
Take Darius. Double down on running back. Where was? Sorry, there's somebody else. Oh yeah, Jair Hill. I really do like Jair Hill. So we'll grab him. We build the defensive back row with Ramsey, Ridley, and Jair Hill. That's type of draft. I wouldn't say that you can trade Trent for sure, but certainly you could let Watson walk, and if you need to cut Fulton, you could also do that as well. We did already add to the linebacker room. We're checking on wide receiver, and I guess we'll leave the defensive lineman up there. Anybody for you guys kind of check? I believe is he? No, I don't think he's still out here. I do like Chris McKellen. Again, run stuffing defensive lineman. I probably would take him just based on this draft here, and I would say that's probably still a need that we can get off the board. Anybody you guys see that kind of jumps off the board for you guys?
Not a receiver for real.
Yeah, I was going to check if Coleman was still there, but I think he ended up getting taken because I think he could fit well as far as the back end of our wide receiver room. He went a little early in this one. Yeah, Kevin Coleman went to the Raiders early there, and then we also had Not odd. Somebody else went. I was checking in on as well. Not Damian Wilson, though. Damian Wilson wouldn't be a terrible pick. I missed him. I don't know who it was. But yeah, I think we'll end this off with McKellen to add to the run stuffing element to our defensive tackle room. And we'll see where this draft ends up. And if they like this a little bit better. Ruben Bain, Ramsey did not come back with a good, but I do really like his versatility as far as playing that nickel and slot position. Emmett Johnson, Will Lee, Samuel Zogo being able to add the linebacker room, Oscar Delp, I don't know. They say it's a reach. I don't think it is at all. I think he's just underutilized. Darius Taylor adding to the running back room. Jared Hill again completing the defensive back room, and Chris McKellen also helping too. So there you go. 2 down. One to show kind of what it could look like if we picked, at the back end as far as 12th is concerned, or at the front end as far as 8 is concerned. What were you gonna say?
Brock Bowers was I was gonna say. It said Brock Bowers was underutilized too. See how that turned out.
It sure was. Okay, so real quick, obviously we've mentioned a few of these guys that are going to be playing in the game. Give me one guy in UM and OSU that you want Chiefs fans to tune into.
For sure, Ruben Bain. Already kind of seen. Yeah. Just probably both of their edges. Another guy I would keep an eye on for Ohio State, probably a later round guy would be Kenyatta Jackson. Be another edge that I think that the Chiefs will like. Good versatile edge, can rush a passer, can stop the run. So, if they wanted to go later in the rounds and pick up another edge or something like that.
CJ, you got
Caleb Downs.
Yeah, obviously Caleb Downs.
No, I mean obviously Ruben Bain is going to be the big one, but Messador, obviously a guy that's if he got a pressure on Lillard, their first play action drive of the game. If he plays well and sets well, he'll probably shoot up higher. He probably won't be available in the fourth like we saw him. He'll probably be a second round pick, maybe even like probably early second, if not late second, and maybe early third if need be. But either one of those guys I would love to have in KC. More so Bain just because he sets the edge well, but Messador's a dog for sure. So either one of those guys are my 2 looks for sure. A sleeper would probably be what's the guy with the long name for the Ohio State? I always butcher his name. I'm gonna butcher that shit.
Oh, the corner, yeah.
Yeah, the one with the long he got long arms. He fits the frame of like Coach Meredith was back like, so he'd be a sleeper guy if anything. But yeah, my first 2 are definitely the edges.
Anybody really on Ohio State's defense, you could really watch, especially if they're going into this draft more so because Ohio State plays remotely close to what NFL defenses are doing right now, with Matt Patricia being there as their DC. So realistically, anybody who's on that defense as a prospect, I would be watching tonight.
Maybe a shorter learning curve for all of them.
Yeah, all those guys is going to be a very short learning.
Yeah, I won't disagree one bit as far as that aspect is concerned. Give me one guy in Oregon and Texas Tech for Chiefs fans to watch.
Texas Tech would be, obviously Jacob Rodriguez. Probably the best linebacker, signal caller in the nation right now. Oregon, probably looking at Mateo. Ukulele. I also like obviously like Noah Whittington, and they got a guard, or is that their center too? He may play center. No. Okay. The other Samoan kid.
Oh, a different one. It's Oregon, so
they got a couple.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah, he's a later round prospect I like too, as far as getting somebody in the interior as well. Yeah, man. Oregon's fast.
Yeah, obviously, Kenyon Sadiq is the one chief among the tight end position. But I'll say, really, Amari Washington. Watch what he does in the run game. I think it's really impressive, and now he can translate some of that stuff to being able to pass rush as well. And then Dylan Thieneman for Oregon, what he does on the back end with his ball skills, I think is also fun to watch. The Red Raiders, honestly, Oregon, Texas Tech, that's going to be a defensive one that you want to key on what those defensive players are doing, in my opinion. It's going to be a good one. Alabama, Indiana, one guy to watch.
Fisher, linebacker from Indiana. There's a guy. He's in our range. He could be on our board for sure.
D'Angelo Pons, even though he's kind of on the shorter side, undersized for a corner, he's very instinctual. And if you want to break it down, just go watch that tape against two of the best receivers, and probably in this class, if he came out, Jeremiah Smith would be a top 5 pick as well too, just like Cardinal Tate. So he held his own against both of those guys as an undersized guy and did a really good job. Alabama. Damn.
I mean, you obviously mentioned LT Overton.
Yeah, LT Overton. I'm not too hyped on him. Trying to think of anybody else.
For me personally, both Indiana wide receivers. Obviously, Surratt is the number 2. Sure. Cooper is a more explosive run down the field. I think both of those guys would be excellent additions to the wide receiver room.
I would love either one of them for sure.
Yeah. So those are the 2 guys
receiver every year. So
yeah. Absolutely. Also, they need a defense has a lot of talent to look out for. Obviously, we mentioned Pons, but also they got the front 7 talent to watch. They play with a lot of violence, which is great to see. Ole Miss versus Georgia.
Dallin Everett for Georgia, cornerback. I think he's a pretty decent prospect.
Lucky or either one of any of the tight ends for Georgia. Essentially.
Austin Lucky or Oscar Delp.
Lucky or Delp, either one.
To watch. Georgia didn't really have any edges this year, which was surprising.
I remember they're really bad at getting sacks. They didn't really get too much pressure on the quarterback this year. It was kind of odd because you usually don't say that about Georgia front 7. So.
I don't know if he's gonna play, but CJ Allen is another guy that a lot of people are gonna like in this draft as well too. But he's probably, he's more of a Nick Bolton type guy that's gonna be a signal caller for somebody or whatever. But yeah, pretty good prospect to watch as well too.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, that's a little bit of college football playoff preview for the quarterfinals over these next few weeks, over the next few days, or the next 2 days, I should say specifically. Obviously, UM and OSU is already on you guys' screen. Before that'll be it. Obviously, we'll see what happens with the Chiefs and Raiders in Week 18. Hopefully, we'll have some young players to review for you guys. Obviously, we will have some more draft prospects to talk to you specifically at the top of the draft to talk about some early scouting work that we've done. And we'll talk a little bit of what our offseason plan is going to look like as the Chiefs season will officially end on Sunday as well. Anything before we go ahead and get out of here, guys?
Okay. Get that, turn that tape on, watch that film.
I was right about Arch Manning.
I was right about Arch Manning.
We'll talk a little bit about NFL playoffs as well. We'll just mention it a little bit. And
turn that tape on, watch that film.
Absolutely. Time to get into the draft season, man. But appreciate you guys for coming by. Peace out. Go Chiefs. Enjoy 2026. Be safe.